Ever since I was a teenager, my goal, my dream was to be a millionaire when I grew up, at the age of 20 and 25 and 30 and 35. And I was able to make a living. I was good at sales and good at marketing and so on, but I was so far away from becoming a millionaire. So I spent 2 months, changed my life. I did 2 months full court press, and I read everything I could find on self-made millionaires. And I found that more than 10,000 self-made millionaires had been interviewed in detail. These are people who started with nothing and became millionaires in the course of one working lifetime. And they had said the things they did, the things they didn't do, the mistakes they made, the things that were not mistakes, and so on. And I put together a talk, and it was called 21 Success Secrets of Self-Made Millionaires. And I got up and I gave the talk 2 months later, and it got a standing ovation. And people asked me, could you give that talk to our company? Could you give that talk again? And of course, I said yes. and so I gave it again and again. And it started off as a 60-minute talk, and then a 90-minute talk, and then a half day, and then a full day. And I began giving the talk all over the world. And then I recorded it on audio and video. I wrote it into a book form. And countless people, hundreds, thousands of people all over the world became millionaires. And it's very much like what I said before, is if you work with a master chef, the chef can teach you how to make absolutely beautiful dishes. So they say if you take 100 people at graduation from college or graduation from high school, one of those people will become wealthy in the course of their lifetime. 3 will become well off. 15 will have a good deal of money set aside, and 80% will be working, dead or broke at the end of their careers at the age of 65. So when I was in my 30s, I did not graduate from high school. I finished in the half of the class that made the top half possible. They say everybody's good for something, even if it's to be a bad example. And I was a bad example. They used to say, if you don't watch out, you'll end up like Tracy. If you don't watch out, you'll end up like Brian Tracy. And that would scare people into doing their homework. And so I left school in the 12th grade. I got a leaving certificate, not a diploma, a leaving certificate, and it says goodbye. That's one of those little emojis waving goodbye. And so my first job was washing dishes in the back of a small hotel for $1.12 an hour. I remember when I got promoted to $1.14 an hour, that was a major event in my life. And for years, I worked in laboring jobs, and I washed cars. I washed dishes until I lost that job, and then I washed cars until I lost that job, and then I washed floors for a janitorial service until I washed that job. And when you're young, losing is another word for involuntary career redeployment. That's where you get a chance to explore new jobs unexpectedly. Today, they give you 2 weeks' notice. In those days, they give you about 2 minutes notice. We won't need your services anymore. Here's your check, there's the door, goodbye. And so I would go from place to place and worked, and I lived in my car, and I did all kinds of things. But I always had this fantasy, undeserved by the way, that I was going to become wealthy someday until I had this opportunity to speak. And as I began to study the subject, I learned some wonderful things that they're so simple, it means that everybody can become wealthy. What you need is a dependable source of cash flow. That's really important. Here's a couple of ideas, and then I'm going to give you 7 keys to becoming an outstanding leader in this industry and to becoming one of the highest paid people in our society and becoming wealthy. Wonderful thing is they're not complicated. I'm not asking you to learn rocket science or anything. All you have to do is do simple things. The first million is hard, but the second million is inevitable. The reason for that is this. As Jim Rohn used to say, he said, it's not becoming a millionaire that's important, it's the person that you must become in order to become a millionaire. You have to become a completely different person. You have to develop character beyond 99% of the people in the world. You have to develop honesty and discipline and quality relationships and the willingness and the ability to work and set priorities and all kinds of stuff. Because without that, nothing is possible. So once you earn your first million, then you are the person who can earn a lot of money And the second million is not, it's never easy. Never easy, but it's easier. The first million is really hard. The second million, not so much. So I found that there were 21 secrets. The first one of all is dream big dreams. I couldn't believe it. Every single person who finally made it said the turning point in their life, they were driving down the road of life, not making much progress, which is that 80-20 rule that you hear. And what happens at a certain point in life, they change and go on a different road. And here's the turning point. It is make a decision. Make a decision that I'm going to become wealthy. I'm going to become a millionaire. And I will work hard, long hours. I will sacrifice. I will pay the price. I will do everything that is necessary. Make a decision that by gum, I'm going to do it. And I realized at the age of 36 that I'd wished and hoped and prayed, but I never made a decision. Oh yeah, maybe someday it'll happen. Maybe there'll be a miracle on something. So I bought penny stocks or mining stocks, and I did all kinds of stuff, and not a darn thing happened. And then I found that the two things that millionaires say, number one is I was not more talented or smarter. I didn't get better grades than other people. He said, but I was willing to work harder than anyone else. I was willing to work harder than anyone else. I was willing to work harder, start earlier, work harder, stay later than anyone else. And you know, self-made millionaires on average work about 59 hours a week. They work about 6 days a week at 10 hours a day, or 7 or 5 days a week at 12 hours. There are very few wealthy people who work 5 days a week. In fact, there probably aren't any. They may work 5 days a week, but it's way after they've achieved their financial goals. The second thing they found is that they were frugal. Is they earned the money, but they didn't spend it all. Is they saved the money. Because there's a time in your life where you can be generous. You can buy things, you can take trips, you can get new cars and new homes and a home in the mountains and so on, but not early. I had a banker once who was very helpful to me, and I still remember, his name was Alan. He said, we do banking for owners of small and medium-sized businesses, and we can always tell when the business is going to get into trouble. Is the owner of the business decides to take all his money and build a new house. He said, you can always tell because it's too soon. Is they spend their money too soon. If they waited another 5 years, they could have bought or built a house without a problem. But what they do is they start to get some progress and they start to go a little bit wild. So your job is to become a self-made millionaire. I'm going to show you the recipes and the formulas that you can use. And sometimes it just takes one choice. And remember, 87% of millionaires and billionaires are self-made. They started with nothing. And nobody's smarter than you, and nobody's better than you. Nobody's smarter than you, nobody's better than you. If somebody else can do it, especially with all the disadvantages that many people start off with, if someone else can do it, you can do it as well. That's the proof. Abraham Lincoln once said that some become wealthy is proof that all can become wealthy. It's just the very fact that a person does well, it's proof. They started with nothing and they became wealthy, well, there's the proof, you can do it as well. Just do the same things over and over again. So I wanted to share with you what I call the 7 C's. And I began putting together formulas, and my formulas are 3s, 7s, 10s, 12s, and 21s. I wrote 22 books, which had 21 great ideas to achieve this particular goal. 21 great ideas to double your income, 21 great ideas to live to be 100, 21 great ideas to be an outstanding manager, 21 great ideas to meet and marry the man or woman of your dreams. And I just did hundreds and hundreds of hours of research and wrote down all these one-liners. And people said just one-liner out of 21 changed their lives forever. I'm very, very hungry. I spent about 150,000 hours studying. I study all the time. Yesterday on my way up here from San Diego, my son lives in Las Vegas, I probably read 3.5 hours, plus 2 hours before leaving, and I'll do another 4 hours of reading today, as I just constantly taking in new information. Because one idea combined with your other ideas and with your opportunity here can transform your life forever. You just have to say, is this the idea? Is this the idea? So the first C is the C of clarity. Clarity is my favorite word in success. It's my favorite word in business. I have done consulting for more than 1,000 corporations, large companies worldwide, companies like IBM and General Motors and PepsiCo and Bank of America. I mean, big companies. And I've also worked with more than 10,000 small and medium-sized companies. And what I found is in every single situation, problems occur when the company becomes unclear about what it is they're doing or how it is they're doing it. And so I've developed a program which is really just a fun program for me intellectually. It's called the 2-Day MBA. And it shows 10 different factors of a company. And these are the ones that I learned when I went to university, back to university in my 30s. And I find that all problems come from lack of clarity. What is your product? It's the first question you ask. Who is your customer? What does your customer consider to be more valuable than anything else? How are you superior to your competitors? What can you do to attract more customers? What can you do to close those customers? But basically, it's clarity, lack of clarity. Now, here's something else I learned, and they did a study of 50 owners of companies, successful owners of companies like yourselves. And they asked them, what is the very best time management or business tool that you've ever discovered? 49 out of the 50 held up a yellow writing pad. Yellow writing pad, sort of like this. And this is what they did. This is how they planned their day. They made a list, to-do list. Today's date. They wrote down everything they had to do. They always work from a list. Always work from a list. Always work from a list. If you don't work from a list, it's very much like taking your hands off the wheel of your car, going down a winding road in the mountains. What happens is your life's going to go on and you're instantly going to start doing irrelevant and unimportant and useless things. And at the end of the day, you'll be exhausted and you'll have accomplished nothing. We say in life that in life you have turning points. And I have written and published now 86 books because I developed a formula for writing and publishing books. I have book after book. Most authors, professional authors, write one book every 2 or 3 years. And I write and publish as many as 4 books a year. Every 90 days, I write a book. People say, I'm going to write a book and become rich. You don't write a book and become rich. You write several books. And you become well off. One book will get people's attention. 2 books will prove that the first one wasn't a fluke. 3 will very often be the book that actually earns you some money, and then 4 and 5 and 6. So people say, well, how can you write so many books? And I said, well, I have a system. I use a system like a recipe in the kitchen. I follow the recipe. And the system requires clarity. What is the book about? Who is the book for? What are the subjects in the book that are not covered somewhere else? What is the system and methodology and process? The number one reason why businesses are not successful, we're not talking about Fortune 500 companies, we're talking about one-person companies, is that they're not clear about their business. They're not clear about every step of the business because they don't think on paper. Think on paper. The most powerful tool in the world is you, a pen, and a piece of paper. This is the greatest wealth creator in the world. You never answer the phone without something to write down. You make notes all the time. Make notes, make notes. Now you can actually capture all your notes on your phone. But what I found is that if you write it down, it records into your brain, and your chances are you'll remember it. I found that if your goals are not in writing, and one of the things I taught, and I've taught more than 5 million people, is write your goals down on paper and write them down in the present tense as though you had already achieved them. I earn X number of dollars in 2019. I am a self-made millionaire by January 1st, 2025. I weigh X number of pounds. I live in a 5,000 square foot house with a separate bedroom for each one of my children. In other words, write it down as though it were already a fact, and you're just reporting it. You're just reporting the fact. Your subconscious mind is marvelous, but what it does is it only thrives on goals that you pronounce in the now, in the present tense. And so you now have a dynamism where your brain knows that you're only earning this amount of money, but now you're saying, but I earn this amount of money. Your brain knows that you're not a millionaire, but now you're saying, I am a millionaire. And so your brain goes to work to close this gap between where you are and where you want to be. And your brain starts to work 24 hours a day. And it works and it gives you ideas. Each person here has what is called the superconscious mind. And this mind has been talked about for 5,000 years, and some call it the oversoul, and some people call it the God mind, some people call it God, spirit, whatever it happens to be. But there's this incredible power in the universe that you can tap into. You could just reach into it by simply writing down a goal clearly on a piece of paper, and then this mind goes to work 24 hours a day to bring it into your life. You've all read the books about the law of attraction and so on. Well, the fact is that once you are clear on a goal and you write it down, not type it, but write it down, is you force this energy field of attraction, and it starts to pull into your life everything that you need to make the goal clear. But if it's not in writing, not a darn thing happens. I said in life, every person has a turning point, and the turning point comes when you set upon a major goal. When you decide upon a major goal, and since you're going to be working for money in business all your life, you might as well set a goal to earn a lot of money. You see, in life, you can earn a lot or you can earn a little. And if you have a choice, I recommend to you that you choose a lot, okay? Because if you don't choose a lot, by default, you automatically get a little. And there's 80% of the population out there is wandering around and complaining about successful people, wah, 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 life's not fair, and so on. No, because once you are clear about your goal, you start to see all kinds of opportunities, things that you can do that you hadn't thought of doing, that move you faster toward the goal and move the goal toward you. You activate this field of magnetism and you start to attract into your life people and circumstances who help you to achieve the goal, and you help to achieve their goals. I mean, it's the most amazing thing. And it is true, and it has been true for thousands of years, and it is the great secret of success. But number one, C, is clarity, is being absolutely clear who you are, which means what you want in life, what kind of a person you are, what you believe in, what's important to you, what you care about. You'll never be successful unless you're doing something that you enjoy and doing it well. Napoleon Hill threw this contribution onto the table in 1936. He said, do something that you love and do it well, and you'll never work another day for the rest of your life. You just never work again because you can hardly wait to get to work. You can hardly wait to do it because you love it. A turning point in my life took place in about 1987, and I attended a seminar, and the speaker at the seminar talked about the importance of self-esteem. And what he said is your self-esteem is defined as how much you like yourself. And the more you like yourself, the more you like other people. And the more you like yourself, the more confidence you have, and the more willing you are to try different things. And the more you like yourself, the less afraid you are of making mistakes. So you're willing to take chances with the possibility that you won't be successful. The more you like yourself. And the way that you build up your self-esteem is you simply say, I like myself. I like myself. I like myself. Say it, I like myself. No, don't suck your thumbs. Say it, I like myself. Yeah. Wonderful. And the most powerful thing that you can do in this business is to help other people like themselves. And how do you help other people like themselves? You treat them well. Practice the golden rule. You treat them the way you would like other people to treat you. And so they feel valuable and important, and they want to be around you, and they want to accept your guidance, and they want to do what you instruct them to do, and they want to become successful as well. And so the more you like yourself, the more you like others, and the more you like others, the more they like you right back, and it becomes a positive upward spiral that makes you happy. So here are the 7 keys to setting and achieving goals. These 7 keys will make you rich. Key number 1 is to decide exactly what you want. Decide exactly what you want. And the great majority of people really don't know what they want. They want to be rich, but what does that mean? How much is that? When? How soon? What are you going to do to get it? So decide exactly what you want. If you're married, sit down with your spouse and decide exactly what you want. 2 people working together, a husband and wife working together on a single goal, multiply the power behind achieving that goal more than anything else. It's called the great mastermind, is the husband and wife working together. Einstein said that if you cannot tell your goal to a 6-year-old child, and have the 6-year-old child explain it to another 6-year-old child, and both of them understand it, then you don't know what your goal is yourself. So ask yourself, is your goal so clear that you could tell it to a 6-year-old child, and the 6-year-old child would not only understand what the goal, but could tell you how close you are to it. Great test. It's a great test, the Einstein test. Number 2 is write it down. Write it down, write it down, write it down. There's nothing more important than writing down your goals, because if it's not written down, it's merely a fantasy. Now, they've done a whole series of studies at Harvard and Yale and Cornell and so on about the difference between students who type their notes and students who write their notes. The students who write their notes all get straight A's. The students who type their notes forget everything before the end of the day, because writing forces you to use 3 abilities: your kinesthetic ability, your physical ability of writing, your audio ability, you see it when you're writing, and your auditory ability, you say it to yourself when you're writing. So you activate the 3 major parts of your brain simultaneously, and your subconscious mind accepts it as a command, and your superconscious mind starts to work on it 24 hours a day. Just write it down, write it down. And it's the most amazing darn thing. If all you did was write down one goal and leave this conference, your life will be different forever. And because all kinds of things will start to happen. And you'll say, well, that's a coincidence. I just wrote that goal down when I was in that meeting this afternoon, and then I got this phone call or something in the mail, or I saw something on TV. So step number 1, decide what you want. Number 2, write it down. Number 3, set a deadline. Tell your subconscious when you want it. I want this by such and such a date. So every goal always ends with a use by date. In other words, I achieve this goal by this date. And you write it in the present tense. Step number 4 is make a list of everything that you can think of to do. Just make a list, and as you think of more things, add it to the list. Keep writing it down, writing it down. And sometimes you think of something in the middle of the night, write it down, keep a pad of paper next to your bed, and quickly write it down so you don't forget it. Just write it down, write it down. That's number 4, and this is really important. It's the great turning point, like a massive ship turning in the ocean. Your whole life starts to turn when you write down a list of the steps you're going to have to take. So take your list of goals and organize your list by priority. Make a checklist. What's number 1? What's number 2? What's number 3? And so on. And as you get more information, change the list, reorganize it, write it, move things up and down. And step number 6 is to take action on your list. Take action on the most important thing on your list. Do something, launch, get going, do it now, do it instantly, do it immediately. Get up and do something. It doesn't have to be a lot. It can be revising your papers, it can be making a phone call, it can be ordering a book, it could be something, but do something, which is sort of like the kickoff in a football game. Just kick the ball off as far as you can. And number 7, and this is going to make you rich, happy, popular, and thin. Number 7 is do something every day on your most important goal. Do something every day on your most important goal. So here's the exercise I'm going to give you to take home with you and do when you leave this. And by the way, from now on, whenever you bring on a new person, put them through this exercise. If they will not go through this exercise, do not waste a minute of your time with them, because they will never be successful if they won't follow your guidance. And here's the exercise. Take a clean sheet of paper and write down goals and today's date, and then write down 10 goals that you would like to accomplish in the next 12 months. Don't worry about 2 years or 10 years or 5 years. Just 10 goals you'd like to accomplish in the next 12 months, and write them in the present tense, almost like you're submitting an order. And just write down, I earn, I achieve, I weigh, I drive such and such a car, I own, whatever it happens to be. And the goals will be financial goals, family goals, physical goals, and so on. Write down 10. And then you take this list of 10 and you say, if I had a magic wand and I could wave this magic wand and I could have any one goal on my list within 24 hours, which one goal would have the greatest positive impact on my life? Which one goal? And go over it. And usually this will jump out at you. Out at you like a spider in a horror movie. It'll grab you. And put a circle around that goal. And that's the goal you transfer to a clean sheet of paper, and then you follow the 7 steps. Write it down, set a deadline, make a list of everything you have to do to accomplish it, organize the list into a checklist, take action, and then do something every day. If you'll just do this simple exercise, then you'll all be rich. All be rich. Nothing can stop you but yourself.